All right, so let's talk about it. Superman in Lois is over, and I'm not going to cap. I didn't watch the show all the way through. I actually just started watching it like a few weeks ago. But like lately, I really have to be like in a mood to like watch some of my favorite shows, catch up on them, or I literally have to be doing nothing. But Superman and Lois was actually good. I think it showed a different side of Clark Kent being Superman, and it showed a really. They took a different approach with Superman that I liked so much. Instead of it being like any other show like The Flash or even in Smallville, where it's hinted that the superhero main character likes the female that we all know they would eventually end up with at some point, or they date a whole bunch of people before actually dating who they're supposed to be with, or you got the Arrowverse who doesn't even that briefly puts the main character with the love interest that they are supposed to be with, leading him to be with someone else entirely, or cheating on Laurel Lance with Sarah, and things like that, and Felicity Smoke being a character. I don't know. I don't know if she is an added character that doesn't exist. Because I know Harrison Wells does not actually exist. He was created character for the show. I don't know if Felicity Smoke is an actual character, or I'll have to look that up. But I don't think she is. But I could be wrong. But anyway, I love that they put Lois and Clark already together. Already together, married, they have kids, and we get to experience a dynamic of balancing family, kids, superhero life, and being the reporters at the Daily Planet. I almost said the Daily Bugle. But anyway, at the Daily Planet. And I like it. And I like the way that so far I'm like in the first season. So I like the way the dynamic is so far. Also navigating their kids, having powers like they did in the comics. Mostly Jonathan Kent and whatnot. And I thought it was really good and really great. I mean, so far. But I did go online, and it was on my YouTube feed, and it was the final episode. It's called Epilogue. It's like the epilogue or whatever, where they're ending the show, and they're sending them off. And I like that. Like in the first one, in the Smallville one, they sent them off because this is a younger Clark. So it's like, okay, we see him progress through high school, kind of like most of his adult life. And then this is a young Clark though. So now after that, the way I took the ending was like, now we're about to see him go full on fledged superhero at the ending. That's how it ended. But then, in the CW, we go back to him, and we find out he gave up his power so he could be with his family. And it's kind of like the perfect, it's kind of like almost a perfect send-off. But in Superman and Lois, they did something entirely insane. Spoiler alert right here. They killed off Lois and Superman. She dies of cancer. I want to say probably because of probably some type of radiation. I didn't finish watching the show. I can only suggest that it has something to do with probably kryptonite, throughout the show. I can only guess. I didn't actually watch the full show, but she dies of cancer. Clark actually dies in the most humane way, and it wasn't like some stupid thing like he died from like some kryptonite, or he did die by doomsday early on in the season. I found that out. I gotta finish watching the show, but anyway, I wanted to talk about this because I like this take on Superman, and it's totally different than what we've already seen. Or like, he ain't died because of Batman, or somebody just killed him in some way that we know Superman would literally insanely not, like literally he would not die by. But it's just because Superman suffers from bad writing sometimes. Okay? But anyway, Superman dies of a bad heart. And I like that for him. I like that for him because that's the, like, like when we really think about it, besides like the bad guys, besides like Doomsday, besides Kryptonite and things like that, like only two major things that could really kill Superman. Like dying of a bad heart seems more legit in my opinion. It seems more legit. Like it just seems more legit that he could die of a bad heart before he would actually die of Kryptonite or Doomsday multiple times, okay? I mean, he can die by Doomsday, but Kryptonite I feel like would be like the very last thing Superman should be dying from, okay? Even though it's happened. I really like this take. I like the ending of it. I like how they reunite in the afterlife. It kind of makes me excited to watch the rest of the show. I know one of the sons was replaced. They recast the actor. I remember hearing about it before. But Superman and Lois was definitely a fresh take on Superman. Unfortunately, I wish we could have got maybe this version of Superman in movie format. And also the other thing that I get annoyed about with these superhero studios like DC and Marvel is that one of the things is that they never set up the mantle for the mantle to be taken over. Like they always can try to continue to have the same actor, adult actor, play this character for so long before they eventually have to kill him off. Instead, I wish that DC and Marvel would really do a thing where they set up, you know, like we got our Robert Downey Jr. He goes through his whole character arc and development throughout all the films, but at some point we have to like at least midway or like the last leg of him playing a character, set up the protege, set up the person that is supposed to follow in their footsteps, like take the mantle up. I feel like you could do the same with Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hawkeye. And I get they kind of already set up the Young Avengers, which I think the way they did the Young Avengers is trash. But I feel like you could do the same thing with the Justice League. We get Superman, we get Batman, we get Wonder Woman, we get Green Lantern, The Flash, Martian Manhunter, Aquaman. And then you set up their sidekicks to be the new Justice League, and you could have gave us a Young Justice like, you know, the show, like the animated show. I think that would have been a good thing. I think killing off Superman and Lois definitely, if it was ever in the plans, could set up Jonathan Kent taking up the mantle and going on to finish his father's work. And maybe giving him maybe at the beginning, give him some of his old, giving him like maybe one or two of Superman's old rogues, right? Or villains that he fights. But then giving him his own set, like some of his villains that he fights or whatever. You know, because every hero and / sidekick has their own set of villains that they fight. Some share the same villains a little bit, or whatnot. But I think that Superman and Lois is definitely a fresh take on Superman and Lois. And it's not like this thing where it's... The thing that I like the most is that they were already together. I really hate the love triangle type of things where the love interest is actually in love with someone else that the main character or the superhero is friends with. And the superheroes are always so freaking shy to talk to the girl that he wants to be with, that we know, like obviously from reading comics and watching other shows, animated shows, that they end up together. I wish writers would stop doing that. I get it that you have to create, you know, drama and things like that, but you can still create those types of dramas with them being in a relationship already, which I wish they had done with Arrow, Green Arrow in the Arrow show, and I wish they had done that with the Flash. I wish they had done that, because then you could have had, like, even in the Flash, I hate the fact that we had to get their kids from the future. You could have put them already in a relationship. They could have had the kids. They could have grown up. We could have had the whole freaking Flash family. What did we get? No, Barry, we're the Flash. Like, come on. Come on. Like, what is that? But I digress. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. Sorry the video was so long.